Natalie. We're on our way to Libby's house.
Who is Libby?
Libby is my friend Libby Barnes, the pianist, who together with Michelle Nedrika kindly composed music for the song that my uncle Eddie wrote about Sam's enjoyment of life.
Mira ese perro. Tenía un ojo, era un perro Bowie. Un ojo azul y uno.
So I think we'll have to go and be careful. We'll have to go to film Michelle as well one day.
Okay.
And where you see, if you see it going anywhere.
And what would you like me to say at that point, Natalie?
So, no, just to be completely honest about everything.
Right.
I mean, not everything will be, because Bear's doing the...
Well, we met on the telephone, didn't we? What happened was, I think it was soon after I'd moved in here, I got a phone call from Simon, our mutual friend, and he asked me if Michelle and I would play at a party. The minute he told me the reason for it, being for the Sam's charity, which I'd never heard of before, he explained who you were. He said, yeah, I've got a friend called Natalie and her sister Sam died in the tsunami in 2005, and they've set up a charity and it helps children in poverty-stricken areas and it helps them with education and clothing. And I said, yeah, of course we will. Of course we'll do it. Lots of people ask us to play for free, which obviously if it's close friends we do very willingly. Other people might ask us to play for a friend of a friend for free, and we're kind of like, well, why would we do that? But this was a charity, and this sounded like an amazing cause, and of course we wanted to do it. And so then that was followed with a phone call to you, and you were saying, bring along your CDs, I want everybody to benefit from this, you can get work from it, you can sell your CDs, etc. For me, firstly we don't have any CDs, but for me it was never about trying to get more gigs or anything like that. The personal gain for me was the privilege of doing something for this great charity. So that was the only thing I wanted, was to be able to help. So Michelle and I were rehearsing in the day before the gig, trying to get some new songs together, and I can remember we got to your flat, like, I don't know, with 5 minutes to spare, and I was thinking, oh, this is a really bad impression, we're doing this for this charity and we look so unprofessional. Anyway, we turned up and your flat was all decked out beautifully. There was like a market on the patio, and was really impressive what you'd organised in your own home. You described to me on the phone what it was going to be like, and I had this vision of it just being... I couldn't see it in my head, I didn't have the vision, so to me it sounded like it was just going to be mayhem. And I got there and it was just beautiful, and then everybody was selling their things. You were selling all your Sam Says merchandise, all your beautiful aprons and everything that you have, and then we had to play, and I was really nervous. And Michelle and I are very outgoing people, but at the point where we start playing, we're petrified. After the first couple of songs, we're fine. And I don't even think we had a microphone, did we? I'm not sure. We didn't have. I don't think we had a microphone. Fortunately, she's got a really powerful voice. But I remember you having to be quite strict with the audience and saying "Silenzio, silenzio," and I decided we were there to make money, and therefore we were going to ask people to make donations, because I could see you'd gone to a tremendous amount of work and everything looked fabulous, but I couldn't quite work out if anyone was actually spending any money. And to me this was a charity do, so I asked you for a bucket and you got the champagne bucket, and I asked my friend Sophie if she would... No, I asked if anyone would go around with it. Sophie volunteered. So Sophie went round with the bucket, and I just, after each song, I just said, if you want another song, you have to pay. So the slogan was, if you ain't paying, we're not playing. And so people were going around with the bucket, people were putting more money in, and it was great. And, you know, we had a couple of glasses of cava and got a bit drunk and just had a really good time, and it was such a really nice vibe. And I think that was... Without having met you before and never having met Sam, looking back, I can see that was exactly what Sam would have wanted and how you wanted it to be, because I subsequently sat and talked to you and found out all about Sam and her personality and her vivaciousness and her bubbly character, and how the charity was in memory of that rather than in any kind of sadness, and that has always struck me as an amazing character of your whole family, really, that you've kept her spirit alive, and I think that's a great credit to you all. And I feel that. I've never met her, but I feel like I know her slightly because of the way you've kept her spirit going. And it's ridiculous because I get emotional about it, but because, you know, I've subsequently got to know you very well and become very close, and always wanted to, ever since that day, wanted to be part of it, because I think it's a fantastic thing that you've done for other people. You know, there you were grieving for your sister, your parents grieving for their daughter, and your niece, their granddaughter, and yet you thought about other people, you thought about the children, the survivors, and their needs. And so obviously then I read all on the website to see exactly what you've done and what you do. And I was unaware of the massive achievements. You know, that first day when we did the first concert, I didn't know the achievements, I just knew that what you told me. I hadn't been aware of, you know, the big contributions that people like Kate Moss had made, and how you'd managed to raise so much money that you'd been able to provide so much in terms of, you know, computers or school books or classrooms, or paying for a teacher for a year, or, you know, shoes for children, all those things, all those amazing things that you've done. And I just have total admiration for you and for the charity, and
That was mainly my parents and Patrice. But and how do you understand the project? Sam says you understand the separation from the original charity and
the separation.
Well, it was
where it's going forward now.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I think I understand what when it was set up. Obviously, the disaster was in Thailand, and so you wanted to help children there, and that's completely understandable. And I think that's very admirable. And now I understand there are a number of things that have happened. Obviously, as time goes by, things change. Plus, there's been this huge crisis. So children in both England and Spain are suffering a lot more now than they were 10 years ago. And you live in Spain, your parents live in England, and it makes logical sense to kind of bring the charity back home and to help other children, because children in poverty are in poverty, whether it's in Europe or Thailand or anywhere else in the world. If they're in poverty, then they're suffering, and I think it's a logical thing to do also, because things do move on. And we need to try to help people who need the help now, and to engage with other people in order to try to make them do that. And I think people are relating to these real big needs of children in poverty in these two countries right now. I think people have suffered a lot in the last 2 to 3 years with the crisis, and I think there's a lot more suffering to come, unfortunately. So I think there's definitely a huge need for the help now, and I think it's great the way you're always thinking of other people, and you're always trying to make this charity evolve, and I think that's really, really important, because if you don't, then eventually it'll peter out. That's how I feel.
Well, what do you with your, I'll say everything and then
Yes.
So with your involvement, you can talk about your involvement with the song, but I mean, my kind of idea is not to be a Bob Geldof, but
No.
but if we could do something with the song and other people, while the musicians getting involved in the song,
Yes.
maybe we could do something closer to, I don't know if you saw the song that Spanish guy Macaco did for the kids in the hospital of San Juan de Dios. Beautiful song.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how they managed to make every time anybody watches it, because it's always going around on Facebook.
Right.
Have you never seen it?
No.
I'll have to send it to you, because it's really wonderful. It's all shot in the hospital of San Juan de Dios with very ill cancer patient kids, all kids. Now, that's another idea. If we could maybe go to what's it called? I've forgotten. There's a hospital. There's a house that's Los Cuclis or something like that. It's a charity that's been set up here to help anybody who has to come to